Al-Moallem warns of the danger of the spread of terrorism in Syria and Iraq to the world as a whole unless it is completely curbed. The Syrian Arab Army advances in Al-Rihan farms in Douma countryside, eliminating a large number of terrorists. Iraqi troops defeat ISIS terrorists in Rabi'a province west of Al-Mosul and heads towards Sinjar. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Adra with the news in English. The talks held by Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign and Expatriates Minister Al-Moallem with his Belarus counterpart Vladimir Mackay have centered on the development in the region, bilateral relations and the meeting of the joint committee between the two countries before the end of this year. The talks were held on the sideline of the UN General Assembly's meetings in New York. Mr. Al-Moallem explained the Syrian stand on the need for the states which finance, arm and train the terrorists to implement UN Security Council's resolutions related to combating the terrorism of ISIS, al-Nusra and other terrorist organizations, and to refrain from offering any form of support to them. Al-Moallem said any effort to combat such organizations is a good thing, but it should go in line with international law. On his part, Mr. Mackay affirmed his country's steady and constant stand in supporting the Syrian government and opposing foreign intervention in its affairs, pointing out that Belarus backs Syria's vision for dialogue without preconditions, adding that inter-Syrian dialogue is the only way to solve the crisis and bring back security and stability to Syria. Minister Al-Moallem had affirmed during his speech at the 69th cycle of the UN General Assembly that Syria has warned of the danger of terrorism and its repercussions on the world. Al-Moallem said American and Western double standards would fuel violence and terrorism. He underlined the need to uphold Syria's sovereignty and reach a political solution to its crisis. We have talked, Mr. Al-Moallem said, on more than one occasion and during several international forums about the danger of the terrorism that has been hitting Syria and the fact that such terrorism would not stay inside the borders of my country because it has no borders. Washington's step to offer money and weapons to groups which it calls moderate, he added, constitutes a prescription for increasing violence, terrorism and bloodshed among the Syrians. He stressed that combating terrorism can be accomplished through implementing international resolutions and stopping the support rendered to terrorist groups. Mr. Al-Moallem pointed out that Syria supports any international effort that aims to fight terrorism, reiterating readiness for a political solution in Syria and a dialogue with all honest anti-terrorist patriotic figures in the country. Mr. Al-Moallem also affirmed Syria's constant efforts to allow all Syrian citizens access to the humanitarian assistance offered by international organizations. Welcome back. During a field tour of the town of Adra in Damascus countryside, Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Armed Forces, Minister of Defense General Fahad Jassim al-Frej, voiced the military command's pride in the heroisms of the Syrian Arab Army's soldiers, praising the morale and the high fighting ability they enjoy. General Frej was briefed by the field commanders on the details of the military operation carried out by Syrian Arab Army units in eliminating the terrorist groups which had spread panic among innocent civilians and committed acts of killing, kidnapping and systematic destruction in the area. General Frej followed up the cleaning operations conducted by the engineering units in the town to clear it of the mines and explosive devices that had been planted by the terrorist organizations. We also saw the bulk of devastation left over by the terrorist gangs in buildings, shops and infrastructure. General Frej praised the ability of the Syrian Arab Army to accomplish all the tasks required from it under all circumstances with a view of defeating the conspiracy that targets Syria's steadfastness and resistance of the Zionist American project in the region. Having taken control of Adra town in Damascus countryside, Syrian Arab Army units continue to pursue terrorists in Douma farms along several axes. In Damascus countryside too, the Syrian Arab Army, in cooperation with the popular defense groups, have continued their attacks in the direction of the town of Douma, maintaining control until Sawan village and the factories and farms surrounding it, chasing terrorists and eliminating a large number of them. French Interior Minister Bernard Cazeneuve has admitted that the number of French extremists who have joined the terrorist organizations in Syria and Iraq has increased 74% this year to reach about 1,000. The Australian authorities have detained a man in Melbourne City on the charge of funding an American terrorist who has joined the terrorist organizations in Syria. Deputy Head of the Federal Police, Neil Gogan, said the detainee is 23 years old, adding that he would be prosecuted on the charge of funding a terrorist organization. He said that the detainee has transferred about $12,000 to an American citizen to help him travel to Syria to join the terrorists there. Finally, Iraqi army has imposed control over the center of Rabi'a district west of Mosul after killing about 100 terrorists of the so-called ISIS. Spokesman of the Iraqi army said that the Iraqi army would continue moving towards Sinjar district to liberate it from ISIS terrorists. Moreover, the Iraqi army has restored 2 villages in the Qub district south of Kirkuk after killing 12 of ISIS terrorists. In Diyala, Iraqi troops killed 6 terrorists of ISIS through targeting their den in Baquba. With this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Latest business and market news after the weather forecast with Nariman Qassam. Stay tuned.